I do an all-day shoot. An average shoot for this for me on a luxury property usually runs about $1,500 because I shoot early morning, I shoot midday, and I shoot twilight. So you have a marriage of different effects of lighting on everything, as well as I do the property address website just like Keenan does, but I also do Matterport, drone, and video. So it's a combination of everything because different people like to see different things. So just depending on where you're pushing out your marketing to, if you're trying to hit California people, they want to be able to walk through the property and see drone video more importantly than just pictures. So wherever your luxury buyers are coming from, you're doing your marketing as such that you can touch all of those. So again, I align with Keenan on that.
Vanessa, do you do night video as well? I'm hearing more luxury agents now are doing night video because people are staying in their houses more.
Yes, and I think more than ever, I've always been a lifestyle agent myself, is how I work with my clients. I want to understand their lifestyle, not the house. So once I can understand their lifestyle, that's how I then kind of facilitate how and the direction of where we look for property. And when you do lifestyle, people want to see all of that time of the day. They want to feel like they're there prior to purchasing it. So by the time that you've done your night shoot, your twilight shoot, your early morning, and your midday, they get a good idea of what the house will feel like prior to coming in. So when they get there, whatever time they're coming in, it just really sets that, oh, this is it sort of presentation.
Fantastic. Tina, what's in your toolbox?
So like Vanessa and Keenan, I'm big on the photos. I think your first look is the presentation. So your twilight photos are a must. Homes look so different at night, especially with all the uplighting. So again, if it's a lifestyle home where there's a golf course and country club, we want to really facilitate what that lifestyle is. And more we're trying to see if sellers would be open to just kind of doing little blurbs about them living there, especially if they're moving out of town and they've loved the home, they love the lifestyle. And they connect, then we'll get them on video. So I also use Premier Placement. It's called Proxio. It's a global network which serves 750,000 agents in 120 countries. So they love that. It's about $129 and it shows them that we're marketing globally. So they all get a kick out of that. Whether it sells the house or not, is a different story. But again, they want to feel like you're doing something extra.
Fantastic. Let's go to the million-dollar question. Where are you finding your luxury buyer leads at this time? Go, Vanessa.
I am a big on referrals, so not only personal referrals, but other agents. So I've been able to connect with other agents, not just with EXP, but some of the other top agencies where they don't feel like working with sometimes high-end leases. I then will take them and then I facilitate them into a purchase because I show them what we don't have a great leasing or rental pool here for higher end buyers. So I generally will take them to a few places and then say for the same amount of money, usually less, they could have XYZ property and then how they can facilitate in using that against the, putting it in a trust or something like that and then renting it back to themselves from that trust so that they're saving money on that. So I just did that with another luxury client in Marble Falls. So they went ahead and put an offer on a property versus leasing a property.
Fantastic. I just want to remind the audience, a lot of you have your mics on. If you could do me a favor in the lower left, make sure you're muting yourself. That'd be really helpful for feedback. All right, let's go to Tina. Same question. Where are you finding your buyer leads?
So our team, we market to specific areas that have luxury homes. So we'll do postcards. to those homes, especially when we sell something. We'll put the house that we sold or just listed and then previous homes. So we want to be the expert in the area that people go to. But we also do market Zillow and Realtor.com leads in the zip codes or in the areas that have those types of buyers that are going to be searching. We all know, buyers from any price point are looking at these sites. So for us, it's given us better opportunity. And then we really try to cultivate our move up buyers. So if you bought a home 5, 6, 7 years ago in the $500,000 range, in our market, our average luxury is 1.2 million. So we know the next step is going to be there. And especially right now, if we see a little lull or a little opportunity coming and our market softens, we're going to be targeting those move up buyers and say, hey, we can get you great money for your house today, and you might get a little bit of a deal in that next step up luxury home. So we really hit our database of 8,000 past clients from the last 20 years.
Fantastic. How about you, Ed?
Definitely take advantage of the sphere of influence. You've worked hard to garner a lot of your clients over the years, reaching out to them, staying in their top mind awareness, like I said earlier, where you're on their mind when they're talking to other friends and family in that same price group. Usually, people in the luxury market, birds of a feather flock together kind of theory. And then also, I've done a lot more targeting with demographics with the internet, using those demographics to really reach out to certain areas that are prevalent for buying luxury homes outside of my market, and working with agents in those markets that I'm targeting as well, building relationships. And when you really can get their referral base going, it really leads to great growth in that market.
And finally, Keenan.
I've been in real estate a really long time, so I've had a lot of clients that have moved up a couple times, and as they move up, they start getting into more of the luxury market. So it's sphere of influence, repeat clients. I stay in contact with them. I do different events, calls, personal notes, etc. I do a little bit of advertising with Zillow in a luxury, also in a luxury zip code. So that's obviously gives me the opportunity to then meet new people, add them to my database, and then obviously sell them properties, which down the road, hopefully I'm going to be able to list and sell their property and upgrade them again. And then one of my third is I do some corporate relocation. So I'm in with a few HR companies, or actually relocation companies. And with those, they know that I'm more on the upper tier of what they'll send. So they'll send me more their luxury clients that are looking for, luxury properties. If it's a relocation company, obviously you're paying a relo fee, but you just pay it on the first time. As you're upgrading or referring friends, you're going to get that business as well. So it falls back on just building up your sphere of influence, and kind of like what Ed said, birds of the same feather flock together. I mean, they're going to hang out with the same people. You do a great job, they're going to refer their friends to you, and you give them exceptional service. They're going to continue to just refer business to you.
Great news. Follow up, and sphere. Okay, so are there any pitfalls in luxury real estate that your fellow EXP agents or our guests should you just never do? Just don't do it. Ed, let's start with you.
Well, that's a really good question. I think over-promising on properties, educating yourself on your market, and when you're meeting with listings, you're competing against other top agents in the market, and it's really important to be positive and really showcase the tools that you have in your tool chest and your sphere of influence and your history, and really just focus on the positive aspects. I always try to come in with, I'm here and I'm appreciated the opportunity to earn your business, and really it's earning your trust. And if you can build that trust right in the beginning in your attraction on listings, then you're going to hone that skill better and better, where then you're going to hopefully become one of the agents that get the majority of the luxury listings in your market and get known for that. And then by kind of taking those small steps, I kind of believe you kind of sweat the small things. The big things take care of themselves. So, having an eye for detail, being that answer man, if you're that person that becomes a resource to your clients, those are very important things. So try to get out of the negative world of, oh, this is what I do better than someone else. That doesn't matter. What matters to customers or potential clients and friends is how are you going to handle things and not how you are compared to others.
Great solution orientation. Tina, let's go to you. What's some do not do's for you?
For us, typically, a lot of our high-end clients don't want people coming into their homes. So, we have a big open house market. We get a ton of business from open houses. And so many of our luxury clients don't want to feel like we're just opening up their home. So we always try to bump up that level of service where if they want to be guided tours, some people want guided tours on a 8,000 square foot house, 9,000 square feet we've had. So we definitely don't use the traditional strategies that we would for a $200,000 or $300,000 house. And so, and the other thing is, not treating them completely different. I mean, I live in a luxury home now. I'm still the same person I was, a little more successful, but at the end of the day, I just want the best agent. We all do great marketing. We all take great pictures. We're all going to put it in the right advertisements. But at the end of the day, they want a professional that's confident, that knows the numbers. So just be that professional. And the mindset is everything when you're working with luxury.
Luxury confidence, way to go. Vanessa, how about you?
Hey, Chris, I actually agree with all of them. It's just a different level of service. Most of them don't need to buy or sell, so they have a very detached attitude towards the outcome, which is just another business transaction for them. So most of the time, it really is mindset. How are you going to go in? Usually it's just a choice that they either want to find something different, say for us here, moving from the lake house to a downtown luxury property, or moving from a luxury property downtown out to the lake. So it's just literally a lifestyle change for them. So most of the time it is mindset, it's the confidence, and again, having the detached outcome, and just know that you're going to be the best professional for the job, because again, we're all doing the same thing. I'm sure, as Tina stated, and Keenan and Ed, we're all doing the same thing. So you just have to stand out in who you are.
Great job. Keenan, how about you? Do not do list.
Do not do list. Okay. My big one is don't buy the listing. So if you guys haven't heard of buying the listing is basically overpromising a price that the seller wants, and then not being able to perform on that price and having to start doing reductions. So obviously they want to sell their property for $4 million and it's only worth $3.5. You need to kind of stick to the data, stick to your numbers. And they say, look, I'd love to get you $4 million, but in reality, here's what the data shows. Your buyer pool is very small, and here's how long it's going to take to sell your property. So setting up expectations and a realistic number, because if you can't give them a realistic number, you're not going to get showings. If you don't get showings, they're going to look at you and say, I don't care what kind of marketing you're doing. Nobody's looking at my house. Why is that? Then you have to start in on this. It's a domino effect. Well, we need to do a reduction. Anybody that's come in has said it's overpriced. And so it just kind of puts you in a really bad position day one, when if you would have just kind of stuck to your guns and said, look, we really need to come in at this number or this price in order to sell your property. You do want to sell your property. If so, this is the number. And then you just kind of go in that direction. You'll hear a lot from these guys. Hey, look, I don't have to sell, right? If we can't get our number, then, maybe we just don't want to sell. And to me, that's an unmotivated seller. And I don't really want to work for an unmotivated seller, because you were going to spend a lot of money on marketing and a lot of time, to go show their properties. Typically you have to be escorted, and that's going to take time. And it just, you're spending a lot of time basically in money, and you want somebody that's somewhat motivated, that will want to sell at a realistic number and get their property sold in a meaningful amount of time. So that's a pitfall that happens to a lot of agents. I hear that from a lot of people. Well, I really wanted the listing. The seller really wanted $4 million. So I just told him, yeah, we'd try at $4 million. And now I'm trying to get him to come down, and he doesn't want to budge. In his mind, he's already sold it for $4 million, and he's not going to budge off that price. 12 months go by, you lose the listing. The next agent comes in, they're listing it for $3.5 because the seller's already tried and wasn't able to get the number. And then all of a sudden, that agent now sells it in 60 days, and you lost all your time, effort, and marketing dollars. So it's just a bad way to go in any price point, not just luxury. It's just more expensive in the luxury market.
Don't buy the listing. Awesome. Are there any networking groups that you guys recommend for luxury that you belong to that really help you get better? Let's start with Vanessa.
We're fortunate here that we have quite a few luxury networks. I belong to local ones such as Austin Luxury Network, Platinum Top 50, Top Producers. I think that you can find those regular ones in whatever your local state has or area has for you, but we're fortunate enough to have a lot of luxury agents here, and I'm fortunate to be able to listen to Keenan and Elizabeth Riley and kind of watch and listen to them. So we have a great network here. So I think that's what's most important, is who is your local network?
Keenan, how about you? Keenan, how about you? Networking groups. We lose Keenan. All right.
Sorry, I guess it was
him.
muted. There you go.
You're muted.
Sorry.
No
I always
worries.
mute when other
You're
people
back.
are talking.
You're back.
Until it's my turn. So I have to agree with Vanessa. I'm also a member of Austin Luxury Network. I'm Platinum Top 50. There's a few other ones, like there's one called Top Agent Network, and within each one of those organizations, there's top agents basically selling luxury. So Austin Luxury Network is a great resource for us in our market. Vanessa and I can put our listings in there. We can also put something in as far as, hey, I've got a buyer looking for X, Y, and Z. And then another luxury agent can say, oh, hey, I've got something like that coming up. And sometimes transactions will happen before they even hit the MLS. I know there's some new rules now that NAR has put into effect, so some of that's starting to change. But that Austin Luxury Network for us locally has been great. And then also networking with other luxury agents, whether that's with broker tours or other types of methods where you can obviously have conversations. Hey, I'm having trouble with this particular listing. Can you help me in this particular scenario? And kind of like what Vanessa said, I'll go to Vanessa or Elizabeth Riley or some of the other people, even outside of the XP network, and just to kind of ask them what they're doing or what they can help with in a situation. And most people are accommodating and obviously helping one another. At least they are in Texas or in the Austin market. But that's been definitely very helpful for me in our market.
How about you, Ed, since you're a vacation market? Where do you network?
You got to network with the bigger markets that come to our market: Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, Des Moines, Iowa. You have to look at those markets and get on Facebook and start searching for luxury groups and putting your name out there and then reaching out to other agents. And the great thing is, if in this market, luxury agents are usually very reciprocal. So asking for help, asking advice, asking questions, people typically like to share. And then once you open that conversation, then you want to build off it and stay in contact with these people, because you can spend a lot of money on online marketing and things like this, but taking the time to reach out to others that are in similar markets that you're trying to attract those people from, definitely build those relationships. And referrals are really the name of the game in the luxury market.
And Tina, how about you?
So for us, same thing. I mean, we have our top agent, luxury private masterminds and stuff locally in the area, but we've made a big push to create relationships with a lot of the luxury agent on-site builder agents. So when we're out touring properties, they think of us immediately. When they have a new development, they want to invite our group, our agents, to their product. We'll take videos for them to show them that, hey, we're marketing your inventory just as well as you. So we try to make it an investment in that relationship, so they think of us when they have a potential walk-in client. I've gotten a lot of resale business from those agent builder relationships, so those on-site agents. So we really tried to be thought of as being having the ability to be a luxury agent. I just never wanted to only be a luxury agent just because our market is diversified. my average price is 400,000. So if I had to live on luxury, I couldn't. I can't sell 15 homes a year. I'd have a decent living, but I wanted to make sure we're diversified. So we wanted a $350,000 client not to think that of us as only luxury, but we definitely try to leverage our builder relationships because our market is booming and our builders are popping up $1 million neighborhoods all the time.
Great advice. Got to have food with meals and diversify. Keenan, if you had to go back to the beginning of your luxury career, what advice would you give the EXP agents that are present right now that have not gotten started in luxury?
I think I would have started trying to hang out with luxury people a lot sooner. As you start to hang out, I mean, you are who you hang out with, and basically you're an average of your circle. So if you can start obviously networking more or hanging out more with people that are going to be more profound in that luxury market, that's going to be your sphere. That's who's going to, if you're the real estate expert for them and they know, like, and trust you, that's who they're going to use. They're going to use you, and then you're going to start getting introduced to their friends and family members. And that's just kind of how you grow your network. I wish I would have started that a little bit sooner in my career, and just knew a little bit more about I guess that luxury market. So my biggest one is your sphere of influence, and then number two, if you don't have that sphere right away, I would start going on home tours and really getting knowledgeable of luxury properties. So when you do come across somebody, you can talk very educated about them and try to basically brand yourself as the luxury expert, whether you are or not. You're really who you say you are until you become that. So I've seen that with a lot of agents here over the years, and we used to have a lot of agents that would say they're the lake expert, and you say it enough times, you just become the lake expert. And I think you could do that in different areas of the luxury market, and it's a great way to kind of start your career in that. And just build off of it.
So one thing you mentioned is getting in groups faster, getting involved faster. What would be an example of a group that a new person could, maybe get into? Country clubs? What do you think?
Country clubs, they can be pretty expensive, but if you can try to find different events, right, that are happening in your neighborhood, maybe some art shows, some wine tastings, if there's some kind of a fundraiser where, you got people throwing, money at different events, fundraiser events where there's silent auctions, etc. And maybe you go with one or two of your friends that might be already in that at that level, and you start kind of getting introduced to some of their friends, or just start networking with other people. Have a conversation with them on what they do and etc. on some of the things that just basically start building rapport, start talking to them about why they're there, what they do, what they're passionate about, and why they're at this particular fundraiser. And then they're going to reciprocate that and ask you, well, geez, what do you do? And you can then start I'm actually a realtor that specializes in luxury real estate. And I can start talking about different properties that I've previewed and maybe why there's such a great value in this particular market. And then all of a sudden, maybe they'll ask for a card, or I can maybe give them my card and say, look, if you ever need anything, whether that's help with disputing your taxes, or you just want to know what maybe something sold for down the street, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I always like to help other people get information, or basically be used as a resource, and walk away without really asking for anything and leave a good impression. And you do that in enough events, and there should be enough events in anybody's hometown, and you can probably find those on Facebook or other boards that post different events. And I think that's a great way to start out and a great way to meet people. And obviously you're meeting an upper tier of clientele at any of those events.
Fantastic. Tina, how about you?
If I would have started over, I think it's the mindset. I didn't grow up rich. I think a lot of us here in this room didn't grow up with a silver spoon in our hand. So I think a lot of times we feel like we don't belong. And, I think it's just learning kind of the language of luxury. And like Keenan said, you coin yourself as a luxury agent, people will start seeing you this way. So you need to know what their preferences are. Go to charity events, high-end shopping malls. You need to know where they shop, happy hours at upscale bars and restaurants, just to connect with people. There's art galleries and designer boutiques. And so you got to kind of learn the language, go to an equestrian event. And, even if you can't afford to buy something, just being knowledgeable about what they do and the products. So I think it's that language of luxury. I bought a pair of sunglasses, I remember, that were Tom Ford, and I just don't splurge on a lot of things. But I remember one of my clients said, "Oh, I have those same glasses." And I'm like, yippee skippy. But it was like, oh, we made a connection because I wear what you wear. So sometimes I felt like I was being fake, but it's like you want to speak the language. So if you keep up to date on luxury market statistics, if your client speaks another language and you learn a few words and do a little research on it for their culture, I mean, just kind of, again, just get immersed in what they are and what they do, and they'll
I think we lost Tina there momentarily, but basically learning luxury. How about you, Ed? We'll wait for Tina to come back, but in the interim.
I think Keenan brought up a lot of good points. You first have to really understand the luxury market. So maybe do some agent previews if the seller allows that. Sometimes a lot of sellers want proof of funds, other reasons for allowing you in the house, but then start educating yourself on the different brands in the kitchen and different aspects that bring qualities to the luxury homes. But then, like in my market, we're not as large as Austin. The hospital is one of the largest employers with doctors. So, being involved, going to hospital board meetings and going to breakfasts, and they have a big hospital ball, interacting with groups or businesses that have potential luxury buyers that work for those companies, targeting them for their charity events, things of that nature, surrounding yourself by people in that buying echelon. And then it's not really selling yourself, it's more introducing yourself, trying to find an angle to, something in common that you have with them, or something that you can be a reference or an asset to them. You try to find that little ability to push that door open, and then hopefully that door can become wider open and you can get into their sphere of friends. And once you do that, that's probably the best avenue you can go for.
Thanks, Ed. Vanessa, what would you recommend?
Well, I have a little bit of different background because I lived in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands for 15 years, and I dealt in a lot of luxury different capacities, meaning that when I first moved there, I was straight out of college and worked in a high-end jewelry. So I learned very early to read the Robb Report, read Architectural Digest, know all the different nuances of a luxury individual and how to pinpoint them. So I have a different mindset when it comes to luxury. Usually they're a little bit more laid back. The people who have the real money always look on their wrist. Look at the gentleman's wrist or the woman's wrist. That's going to tell you a lot most of the time. And I think that a real easy marketing tool, if you live in a area where they have wine lockers at restaurants, get a wine locker. It's here at Capitol Grill, it's $500 a year just for the wine locker. You don't have to stash wine in it, which I do for my clients when I send them there, but you don't have to. And it is an easy way for people to start establishing your name, because there's usually a brass plate that goes on the locker. So establishing your name with other luxury businesses that also have wine lockers, and attending those wine events, because you're going to find, like Keenan said, if you hang around those people will become your clients. But you also got to know the market. So if you're reading the Robb Report, Architectural Digest, the other thing I can suggest at starting over is finding a luxury agent, because half of something is better than all of nothing. So if you have the opportunity to bring a luxury agent, someone that could be a potential listing, have them work with you and be willing to do hands-on learning. And I know some people think that, oh, I don't want to give up my commission, but that is the easiest way for you to actually jump into luxury, because then it will go down that you actually had a portion of that. It goes in your local MLS, and then when people pull up your numbers, they'll see, oh yeah, they do have that. Because if you go into the luxury market without having got your feet wet, they'll have your lunch, because they're just a little bit different. That dealing with a luxury agent on the other side, negotiating and so forth, it's hostage sometimes, and you've got to have that hostage negotiation mentality. And if you haven't had the luxury of being able to work with someone in that, you just don't know the nuances.
Great advice, and it's just exciting to hear these nuggets, and hopefully our audience is writing some of this down, because some of these things are absolutely pearls. We'll also plug at this time the Institute for Marketing Luxury Homes. They have a great certification for getting started with luxury. They teach a really great program, and EXP does offer that through our luxury group. Moving on to the next question, let's go to agent attraction. So we've all heard it on this panel. You're agent attracting, and you hear the common objection that EXP doesn't have a strong luxury presence. How do you overcome that objection? Keenan.
It's funny, I never hear that, but if I was to hear it, I would just basically, my canned response is, oh, really? As compared to what? And then I just pause, I don't talk, and then I let them tell me, well, as compared to us, we do this, we do that, and then I can just pull up my numbers and say, well, here's all the properties that we've sold that are in the luxury corridor or in the luxury market. And at the end of the day, I mean, what you can tell that agent is, look, I mean, EXP has a lot of things that they do for us as individual agents. And although even if they don't have a ton in your specific market of luxury sales or luxury listings, at the end of the day, that person is buying you, not your brokerage. So when you're meeting with that person and you're trying to bring that person on board, they're wanting to work with Vanessa Nunez, because Vanessa Nunez has a good name. She's got a strong sphere of influence, and Vanessa Nunez sells luxury properties. Whether she's with Keller Williams or EXP, they're pretty much buying Vanessa Nunez. But at the same time, what Vanessa's getting is she's getting all the tools, the stock, and all the different great, wonderful things that EXP does for their agents. So that's how I would probably overcome that if it was brought to me. I mean, I never have anybody use that comment, but I'm assuming our market's probably a little bit different than some of the other ones across the nation.
Tina, how about you?
It's funny. I've heard a couple agents say that. And for me, I just use my experience. I say, well, that's interesting that you say that. I was at 68 million in volume from my other brokerage, and I moved to EXP, and we're 105 million now. So should I give that credit to EXP, or should I give that credit to the fact that the consumer is hiring me? So I'm the brand. So, I mean, I think that, I think a lot of agents are so caught up in their brand, and they're pushing their brand because they don't have confidence in themselves, just like Keenan and Vanessa and all of us. The consumer is hiring us. There is no need. There's no more brand awareness. I mean, I think some weaker agents push their brand because they've got nothing else. But if that were the case, EXP would have brought me that extra $40 million in business. And we all know that it didn't. We love EXP, and I love it too. But I think once I lay it out that way, they just kind of are quiet about it.
How about you, Ed?
Well, for people that are brand loyal when you deal with some of the luxury market, I agree with Keenan and Vanessa that it is about you as an agent and how you carry yourself. But then EXP, you have to be impressed in the last few years how gigantic our icon program has grown. And I know not all icons are necessarily in the luxury program with EXP yet, but most of our icons do luxury transactions, and you can see the growth with EXP in that aspect with icons. And then, with the programs that are offered like the CLHMS or other aspects like that, we do have those presences and services and other avenues for the luxury market as well. But it is definitely how you carry yourself and how you present yourself. And then because of great agents like Keenan and Vanessa and Tina and others here in this room today, I think that slowly is changing the luxury brand presence for EXP as well.
Fantastic. How about you, Vanessa?
I agree with actually all of them, but we have here in Austin, I'm very blessed to have examples such as Keenan, Elizabeth. I can name off a handful of agents that are all luxury here. We are, can you guys hear me? Somebody's saying mics are off. Can you hear?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, anyway, like I was saying, it's just we have a plethora of luxury agents that are EXP. And honestly, that's kind of what brought me to EXP. I serendipitously happened to be at a platinum top 50, was looking for a change, didn't really care for where I was, needed to be around other agents. And I've always known Elizabeth as Lux Property Group, Keenan as One Source, not realizing they were all under EXP. So I think that if somebody's saying, hey, why there's no EXP luxury, what did you call presence? It's because a lot of them allow them to brand themselves. And when they're branding themselves, some people don't realize that it's underlying and brokered by EXP. So I think, again, it's you. People hire you and people are attracted by you. And as long as you're out there giving your best self, then people will be attracted to work with you, be it other agents or clients.
Right on. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to top 3 tips, and we're going to rattle these off before we go and open up to Q&A. So let's go, Ed. Top 3 tips right now for luxury for everybody in the room.
I think we talked a lot about doing professional videos, not just aerial drones, but full videos of property. Also, I believe right now, utilizing your sphere of influence, reaching out to them, is a very, very important thing. Like I said earlier, not just for a property, just general reaching out. How are you doing during this COVID time? How's your family doing? Very important just to reach out for non-related real estate issues or real estate topics. And then my last thing is, always working about establishing trust and sweating the small things with clients. Always look for the little things that can differentiate yourselves from other luxury agents in your market.
Great. Tina, how about you?
For me, it's just always, obviously studying the best luxury agents around. So I think every market has amazing agents. Look at their marketing, look at their branding. Mindset matters the most. It's the number one thing. I think all of us, how do I break into luxury? Well, just decide that you're a luxury agent. I mean, it's as easy as that. You flip the switch the next day, congratulations, you're luxury. You're going to spend a little more money on marketing. You know how to find, video and photography and all that good stuff. So you really just need to say, I am a luxury agent, and then learning the lingo, just immersing yourself in the luxury world, like Vanessa was saying. So going to charity events, seeing where they hang out, building relationships. I think that's the key. And I think luxury clientele is so much easier. They have money. They're not nickel and diming. They usually can make quicker decisions because many of them are entrepreneurs with strong business backgrounds. So I love my luxury clients. I mean, it's the easiest way to make $30,000-$40,000 commission checks. So yeah, I think that just switch your mindset and go after it.
Vanessa, how about you? Top 3.
Funny thing is, my number 1 is believe you're a luxury agent from the start. Go ahead and put that in your mindset. That's number 1. Number 2, pair yourself with a luxury agent and know your other luxury agents, whether they're with EXP or not. Get to know them. And the third is know your market. And if you have a local economic analyst that is with a title company or something else, get to know them. We have here in Austin the luxury of having Mark Sprague. I literally have one-on-one and table discussions with him a lot. May not always agree with him, but his information is spot on. And I think that transpires to any other area.
Thank you. And Keenan, top three.
Oh, top three. Man, we've had so many great pointers already. I think my top three, first thing I would do is get certified in luxury. Obviously, the Institute for Luxury is a great place to start. I know once I got that accreditation and got those additional hours for continuing education, that was very helpful. It gave me a lot of ideas. I like the other thing, what Tina said is once you coin yourself as, and I think I mentioned this earlier, once you coin yourself as luxury, you become luxury. So that kind of falls back on fake it till you make it. Start learning more about luxury, take the classes, go to luxury tours, start learning more about it, read information like what Vanessa mentioned, Architectural Digest, the Rob Report, like how can you differentiate good windows versus bad, or good luxury appliances versus non-luxury? You should be able to know that a Thermador appliance package is going to be way more expensive than a Whirlpool. Little things like that where you can talk educated about different properties and you just kind of learn the lingo. And then obviously, third is just putting yourself around other luxury, hopefully other luxury buyers to build out your sphere of influence. So those are really my three, and I think that's a great way to start. And those are probably my three top tips for any of you guys out there wanting to get into it.
Fantastic. So what I want to do right now is we've got quite a few questions for the panel. So this is kind of coming out of left field, but I love left field. And also those people that are attending, if you're an icon, you can see under Tatiana Shenko, she does have a link for you to take the survey, so you get credit for these time in the world. We appreciate that. So let's go to the questions at hand. So Proxio Pro, or some of the sites that give you the most exposure or bang for your buck, what would you share with the group in terms of exposure, or LuxVT, or some of these other programs that we have? Let's start, Vanessa.
I think you have to do what works for you and your market. I'm definitely a Sphere. I have not used a lot of those programs. I am part of the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing, so I work with a lot of stuff in there. But I'm such a Sphere agent that I usually stick to things that are personal touches and one-on-one.
Great. How about you, Keenan? Okay, Ed, you're up.
I've used Luxury VT and other ones of that nature. It really depends on the listing. For instance, Luxury VT works really well if you're looking at golf course buyers, and they really know this course is one of the top in the country, and you want to make sure that golf course buyer in other markets that might buy one of your homes here, I think it's more specific to the property whether you use certain programs like that or not. I agree with Vanessa earlier, working your sphere, and that is probably the number one priority. But yes, I don't always use LuxVT or other programs on all my luxury listings, but on certain ones I do that I believe target a wider presence to New York, the Wall Street Journals, and other avenues of marketing.
Ed, do you have a budget on that? Do you set a budget for yourself when you're doing each listing, depending on how high the price is?
Yes, I think you do, and then you also set a budget based on the time frame that it might take. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket if your market says it takes a couple hundred days to sell a luxury home. So, you definitely have to set the budget accordingly to the speed of the sale of the property that you think in your mind, or the longevity that it might take, so you can balance out that budget so you're not overspending. I think that's the one thing that can happen in the luxury market. One program doesn't fit every property because every property is so unique in that market. So you really have to be able to change with the times.
Fantastic. I'm going to throw this question out to the group, and I'm not going through each person because we've got some questions. But in terms of the marketing expense, we all know, being on this panel, it costs a lot of money to carry luxury. Are you building those fees as a retainer or handcuff, if you will, in the listing agreement? And feel free.
I personally don't. I think that's part of our service. And that's what sets me apart a lot of times from other luxury agents who do say that this is additional. They feel like, they're getting hijacked. So, you'll take like a 7% commission versus a 6%. You keep 4, buyers take 3, and that's kind of how you offset it. But it is a very expensive process to market your luxury. That's how I play it.
Does anybody take a retainer on the panel?
I know I don't. I don't take a retainer. I typically try to bill mine out at kind of the same thing at 6% is my fee, and then obviously I'm keeping 3 of that, and I'm using a portion of that for marketing. So I think the retainer may turn some people off. It really depends on the situation. I know in all my transactions this year, I do a like a transaction admin fee of $6.95, and that's across the board regardless of price point.
Yeah, I don't do a retainer or any admin fee. I know other luxury agents in my market do it and do it very successfully. Some as high as $1,500, and they charge the clients for all the professional photos, videos, etc. And that dollar amount. I think it really just depends on your business practice. I don't think either way is wrong.
And I think if, like Keenan said, if you're buying listings, then you better get a retainer because you're going to be spinning your wheels a lot.
Okay. Sure. For those of you that do the video, there was a great question from Rob Dietrich out of Atlanta. He says, how can you get the views up on a video?
Say the views up, is that like through Zillow, or is that through like where is it being, I guess, hosted?
Apple.
Let's take YouTube.
I think on YouTube, I don't do a lot of YouTube, but I know Jeremy Knight does, and I think it's going to really depend on the keywords that you have got in there. At least that's my understanding, the keywords that you've got in there and what's searchable, and that's what he's done really well and has been successful with. I know when I have something, I feel like a lot of people will find your listings on Zillow once it's in the MLS. I know on any of mine, I do to get it higher up on the searches. I will do we'll do video tours, 3D tours, upload those to Zillow, which now they've kind of unlocked it where you don't have to do it through the app. I'll also go through, and every few days I'll change a little bit of the verbiage, and then that pushes my listing up a little bit higher. So many people search Zillow and Trulia that I feel like there's a bigger captive audience through both those for video, and that's what I typically use, and that's what I've had the most success with versus YouTube.
Great. In terms of listing time frames, question is, how long do you do your listing agreement for the luxury properties?
Personally, I do a year because luxuries take a little bit longer to sell. And if you're going to be putting that much money up front, you want to make sure that they're not going to jump to somebody in 3 or 6 months, because average luxury properties do sit on the market a little bit longer because you have less of a buyer pool.
Fantastic. Gang, it's the end of the hour. We have another session joining us. Do look under Tatiana Shenko to get the survey. We so appreciate you being here. We will take all the extra questions, field that to the panel, and send it back out. If you put it in the chat box, we so appreciate you being here. And that wraps up Let's Talk Luxury. A huge thanks to our panelists, Tina Terranova, and we're so proud, eXp Realty proud of our luxury brand. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Guys.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in just a second. All right, we have Mario, Karen, Kristen, Chad, and Jason. Are you all here?
Woohoo! Oh, am I supposed to walk up there?
Come on up.
So I think Mari and I are one person right now. I think I need to back up a little.
It's my fault. I'm sorry about that.
Perfect. All right, everyone. We're going to get started here. Welcome to track 2, the icon track. We're going to get here. We have our next session, Why Follow Up is Everything. I'm going to direct you real quick to the housekeeping items. Just make sure that all your keep your mics on mute and reserve questions until the Q&A portion. To zoom in on the main presentation, click on the screen zoom button at the top of your screen. If you are to begin experiencing audio issues, please try exiting the auditorium and then re-entering. If that does not work, try exiting the world and re-entering. If any technical issues persist, please go to the Go-To menu at the top of left corner of your world screen and go to the text or outpost support assistance. All right, everyone. I'm going to hand it over to you, Mario. Let's get started.
Good afternoon and/or good morning, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. We got a really exciting topic here today. The fortune, it has been often said, the fortune is in the follow-up. We want to invest time with people who want to do something now, and we want to invest our system, our follow-up system, in those who don't. The outcome of every prospecting, lead follow-up conversation, it's either one of two things. We're going to set an appointment now to meet with the prospect, or we're going to set an appointment with ourselves to follow up later. The fortune is in the follow-up. So we have some great people here with us today to share with you. And Karen, I'll start with you. Tell us, please, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. It's very excited to be here. I have been in the real estate industry for 23 years. I've been licensed since 1997. Got my broker's license in 2003. I sell in Tampa Bay, Florida, specifically Palm Harbor area, where I have a niche farm area. And yeah, so I've been with EXP about 2 years.
Right on. Kristen? Kristen, are you there? We might have lost Kristen. Chad, are you there?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name's Chad Vasquez. My wife, Valerie, and I are a domestic team out in Hawaii. And we have been with EXP for 2.5 years. And we do have kind of a niche market helping people. A lot of people move to Hawaii, and so we try to get in touch with them before they get here. So when they're looking for information, we're here to help give them a value, and that's what we do out in Hawaii.
Exciting. Thank you for that. Jason?
Hey guys, I'm Jason Arcuri. I'm in Connecticut. I started as a real estate agent 6 years ago. I started out as an investor 14 years ago, and that's how I kind of fell into it. And I usually provide value through doing basically what I call mini inspections with my clients. So we usually don't have issues or unexpected issues when we hit the inspection process.
Very good. And Kristen, are you back with us? Okay, so let's go to you, Jason. What is your most effective method of follow-up?
Okay, of course you got to start with me on this one. So we're talking about this. I'm not the greatest follow-up. I think you should be doing it every day. I just really hammer out everything very quickly. So for me, I'm very time efficient. So when I do make my follow-up calls, I will hammer out a full day of follow-up calls and hit up 100, 200 people in that one day.
Wow, and so you group your follow-ups together, and you sort of go gangbusters. And now, what is your most effective method, Jason, when you are following up? Is it via telephone, text, leaving voicemails, sending emails? Tell us a little bit about that. Give us a sense, please.
All my regular follow-up is phone calls. I just find phone calls, getting people on the phone, you just have, you create rapport faster and you have a higher success rate. From that, people will text me back because I will leave voicemails and people will be like, shoot me a message back, but phone calls by far are the easiest way to convert people.
Right on, and it's absolutely essential that we understand that everything else we do is only to supplement phone calls. Everything else we do, whether it be emails, whether it be text message, whether it be voicemails, it's only to supplement the phone calls. Chad, what about yourself? What is your most effective method of follow-up?
Well, we do use quite a lot of systems, but I would say that a combination of emails, we do print out, we type out blogs on our website and we send a monthly email with value. It doesn't always have to do with real estate. So we're constantly in touch and sending out value to people. I would say that we do know that it's important to have people in the close part of the funnel, but we look at everybody is somewhere in the funnel. So we're always doing follow-up with them. If we've just helped them buy or sell, we know that eventually in the future, they're going to be a client again. So it's not like anyone ever leaves our follow-up. We're always kind of giving them value, touches, the blogs, the emails, things like that, just checking in with them on their anniversaries. So I think it's a continuous process. It's just a matter of when they're ready, when they're timing. So that's how we look at it.
Okay, and tell us a little bit more about the value that you provide in those blogs.
Excellent. So we actually do things that are not only real estate involved. So it could be restaurants, it could be hikes, it could be highlighting a community or an area. And so each month we send out a really good blog and it goes out to everyone in our CRM as an email. And a lot of people like to read those. We have things to do for kids. Obviously this month was things you can do during COVID-19 to support your community. So we get a lot of feedback from those. And again, it has very little to do with real estate per se, but it does touch the people. They do stay in touch with us, and that's what we do for those blogs.
Right on. And the businesses that you are plugging, are those other businesses that are in your sphere of influence? And do you seek, as an example, if you have a restaurant that you're plugging, do you seek, let's say, a 10 or 15% discount in order to pass on to the rest of your community, or a free dessert with the meal, that sort of thing? Do you do any of that?
I know that is real common. A lot of times on the back of business cards, they'll have a free beverage or entree or dessert, and those things do work really well. We are a small island, so a small community. So everyone kind of knows each other, and it is a micro environment, but we don't do any of those things on our blogs, but I do know a lot of people that have success with those kind of things, offering those discounts or free desserts. And it's a great idea. If you can incorporate it, it's a good one.
Okay, very good. Very good. And last question on this for you, Chad, is when you're sending out these blogs, how do you follow up in terms of driving people to the blogs?
So the emails get sent out to everyone in our CRM, and they go back to our webpage. And our webpage has videos, it has blogs, it has a whole bunch of resources and stuff. And so they always get driven back to our site if they open it up, which is great. And then we can track analytics and see which ones get opened more, which ones people are liking more, and we tend to kind of incorporate that into our future planning. But everything drives back to our website, and then of course everything's there, from home searches to our videos about buying. So it's always kind of bringing them back. So I like that. It's a good question. Whenever we give them value, it's always a U-turn, bringing them back to the website, bringing them back to all the other resources so they can find more information.
Brilliant. And Kristen, you're back with us now, are you? Kristen, are you with us? I saw you leave me a message that you're here to the side, but we can't hear you. Oh, you're having audio issues. Okay. So we'll go to Karen. Karen, what is your most effective method of follow-up?
For me, I have a relational type of business where I get a lot of past clients and referrals. So for me, the follow-up is to give them something of value, kind of like Chad, except I don't do the vlog, but that is a great idea. I love it. So what I do is I have, my clients are constantly calling me for referrals, resources. So, I've created a list of vendors that we have online where we send to our clients, like on a quarterly basis, like let's say the Four Seasons, hey everyone, it's, fall's coming up, here's a vendor list in case you need anyone to do whatever. So that is how we do it. And we utilize a CRM called RealVolve that allows you to do custom drip campaigns.
Right on. And for everyone listening, that right there is an amazing gold nugget, is to create a vendor list. Now, Karen, the vendor list that you have created, again, going back to what I asked Chad, are you deliberately, as an example, seeking people within your sphere to add to that vendor list, or how do you go about adding people to that list?
Yeah, so obviously, 23 years in the business, everything evolves. So on a regular basis, myself and my partner are constantly looking at the vendor list and either adding people or removing people based on feedback from our clients, based on how quickly they called someone, a return call. Like, for example, recently I referred one of my clients, a plumber. He didn't call them back within 24 hours. I was on the phone. I'm like, hey, what the heck's going on? And then finally he texted me. He's like, Karen, I'm sorry. I was out of town for Mother's Day. And I'm like, all right, well, just let me know next time. So I'm very particular with making sure my vendors are accountable. So the way I add and subtract to that is based on feedback from my clients, or if I come across someone that gives me good service, or one of my team members good service, we add them to the list.
Right on. And do you have several people in each category, or one person in each category? How do you work that idea?
I absolutely like to have 2 or 3. Some areas I only have one, because like here in where I am in Florida, trying to find a handyman is really, really tough. So I do like to keep 1 or 2 or 3, but some areas I only have 1.
Right on. And Kristen, have you fixed your audio issues? Okay. Chad, let's go to you. Where would you start in terms of follow-up? Where would you start if you had to begin again, knowing what you know now?
Ooh, that is a good one. So take for granted that you have some kind of lead gen. Somehow you're getting some leads. Having a good CRM and something that can do some drip campaigns, so there's some kind of automated follow-up in there. So immediately they're getting the text message. Maybe you have a good email that goes out, and then have that go for the next 5-10 days. Some kind of touch is the old school way. So something automated is great to start with. But I agree, the personal touch always is paramount. So if we see a lead come in, we reach out to them by phone call, text, and not just once, obviously. Got to keep repeating. People are overloaded with stimulus. The first one might just bounce off. The person who's asking you questions may not even reply. So I want to keep trying over and over again, if I can, and put them into that drip campaign. And those are the good ways to start. If you're just getting leads and you're just looking at, put those in and know that they're not all going to pop soon. Some might be months out, a half a year. And it's important to keep those coming too, because we know that when we start, we're looking at our funnel is very small. Sorry, but once we get going, nowadays we see people that we talked to a year ago that now we're helping them today buy, and they're just as important. So I love filling the funnel with people who are not immediately, they're in the future, because now we have a robust funnel that has people in there that we're not just immediate buyers, but 6 months out, a year out, and now of course repeat clients and referrals, and that's the way to do it. Look at filling up your follow up now, and consider everybody to be in the short term and long term also in your follow up.
Brilliant. And do you have a standard in your office in terms of how quickly you like to get back to people? Like what's your idea there?
That is a good one. So when we started, for example, we used Zillow leads, and we always joke that if you don't call them within the first 5 minutes when it comes in, they're never going to answer. Just because, again, that's their attention span. If they're looking at something or a lead is interested and it comes into you, immediately is the best answer. If you don't get to them as fast as possible, then they go on to something else. They put down their phone, they walk away from the computer, and you've lost them. So speed of action is always the most important. If you don't get a chance to get in touch with them immediately, then the drip campaign, the repetitive over and over attempts is very important, but there's no substitute for, I mean, even if it's late at night and somebody comes in as a referral or a lead, I immediately want to get in touch with them right then if I can. That's the best.
Brilliant. Speed to lead, speed to lead. And the automatic drip campaign, sometimes we're out with clients and we want to honor the presence of the people that we're with and not be on the phone returning 7 calls when we're showing a property and things of that nature. So that's where the automatic drip comes into play brilliantly, where you say, hey, I'm just with a client right now. As soon as I'm done, I'll get back to you. What's the best number? What's the best time to call you? So again, the purpose of every interaction is either to set an appointment now or to set an appointment for a follow-up later. So that's brilliant, Chad. And let's go to you, Jason. Where would you start if you had to begin again knowing what you know now?
I would run Facebook ads all day long. I would get some. There's so many good ones out there, but really, I would just fill the pipeline. I wouldn't even say pipeline because a lot of them are really horrendous leads. But when you hit the phones hard, you're gonna get somebody. It's just a numbers game. Even if you're the worst salesperson in the world, you might only have a 1% conversion rate. That's still 100 conversations gets you one deal, and if you make $5,000 on that deal, that's not too shabby. So that's really where I'd go. Is I'd just fill it with a ton of numbers that I could just call every day.
Brilliant. And so I think we have to look at it in terms of a systematic process in the sense that we have leads, we have prospects, we have clients, we have lifetime clients, and then we have raving fans. So we have to systemize, have to is bad language, we have to consider, it's important to consider going back in that way. Now, when we're going back to what Jason said about following up with internet leads are brilliant. We tend to generate about 1,000 internet leads a month, and getting them on the phone, it does require follow-up. So for anyone who's not doing that yet, that will require double tap, triple tap, that will require text, that will require a video text. So sometimes within, let's say, 10 minutes, this is what we do in our office. Within 10 minutes, if we don't get them, there's about 7 or 8 touches. So we triple tap, call them 3 times. If they don't answer, we send them a text. Hey, Jason, are you there? They still don't answer that text. Jason, do you have 3 minutes to speak with me? And then they still don't answer that text, and then it's a video, a quick video text that goes out. So with those types of leads, following up is critically important, and there is a gold mine there. Kristen, are you there? Are you with us? Okay. Karen, what would you start if you had to begin again, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, I love this question. I'm glad you asked me it. You know why? So when I got into business, I was fortunate enough to align myself with an agent 20 years older. We had a specific farm area, but obviously 23 years ago, there was no internet. There was no database I did not do a database probably until just 5 years ago. Have a real like smart, CRM database. So for me, it would be, if I could tell anyone getting in the business right now, create a database, just start it. Even if you have to do like a spreadsheet, and touch those people a couple times a year to start, and then try and develop some sort of system that works for you. Because I have lost clients. Some of my clients, have bought my listings with other agents, and I'm like, what? So that's what I would recommend.
Karen, it's the most amazing thing. I remember, God rest his soul, Bill Beveridge. He was my phase one real estate teacher. And Bill Beveridge, on the first day, one of the first things he said is, before you do anything else tonight, before your head hits the pillow, tonight, he said, this is the first day of the first class of real estate school, 30 years ago almost. And he said, go and write out a list of people that you know. And back in those days, we used to put them on cue cards. Go and write down a list of people that you know. So who are you giving money to? Your friends, your friends, your family, your coworkers or former coworkers. Who do you give money to regularly? Example, you go to a local grocery store, you go to a local laundromat, you go to the dentist. So write down all of those people. And what the most amazing thing about that is that I would say, and we have team members coming in, and I asked them to do the exact same thing, and it's amazing how few of them do it without really real prodding. So there's another gold nugget right there. If you have not already done that, please, before your head hits the pillow tonight, do that, because you'll be amazed at what happens. Now, do you have a standard in your office in terms of how quickly you get back to people, Karen? Karen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, my mic off just to help. So as far as immediate, just like I'm not sure if I heard Jason or Chad say it. If you get a lead coming in, if someone refers you someone, it's immediate. You don't wait for an hour, 2 hours. If I get a referral, or if a phone call lead comes in, or even we have a system where we do lead generate. My partner does all of that, and it goes into our KV Core system, and then routes the leads. Our agents know that they have to contact that lead immediately. If there's no phone, then like you said, do a video, either a bomb video to their email, or just hey, this is the Romero McMenamin team. We're here to help you. Let us know how we can help, and then just keep following up, but immediately.
Brilliant. And all these things, these text messages, these videos, the emails, it's about, the word is not coming to me right now, but it's about essentially presence. Because sometimes we think, oh, they're not going to watch the video and things of that nature. But even if they don't watch the video, even if they just see your picture that you sent the video, now you are establishing presence, and you're establishing a touch. So everything counts. Everything counts. And the word might come to me as we move along here. So I'm going to ask you
like
what
touches,
might be,
a touch.
no, that's not the word, but it might come to me hopefully before we're done here. And so I'm going to ask you what I think. I actually heard Oprah Winfrey ask this question, and she asked this question on many interviews, and I'm not meaning to put you on the spot in any way, but I think it's one of the most brilliant questions I've ever heard. And I'll start with you, Chad, is what would you ask you if you were me in relationship to follow-up?
You mean what questions would I ask the person once I get a hold of them?
No. So you're the moderator right now. And what would you ask you if you were me? So pick the question and then answer it.
Okay. So I would ask, do you differentiate between new follow-up and past client follow-up? And if you do, how so? Which one do you think is there one that's more important than the other, or are they just in different value? What do you consider between new leads coming in or following up with past clients in Sphere?
Brilliant question. Now go ahead and answer it.
So I definitely differentiate. I think it's very, very important to use speed for the new leads, following up, using all the things we just talked about. But I do think that a lot of people overlook, once you've helped someone buy or sell, sure, they go out of mind. But if you don't follow up with them, and that could be a call on their anniversary at minimum to see how they're doing, how the kids are doing, how's work. More often if possible. You can call them every 3 months or every 6 months. You won't always get a hold of them, but a personal voicemail is very, very important to people. They know you haven't forgotten about them. And a lot of times it might be they hear from you and they have a question like, who's a great carpenter or a plumber? Or they might be, their neighbors are looking to sell. So you get a lot of leads from doing follow-up but with past clients. I think that's something that we overlook a lot. So that one is very, very important, as well as the new ones that we're getting as generated leads. So that's something we should focus on.
That's brilliant, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Is very often what I find is, and I'll speak for myself, I step over silver dollars to pick up nickels. In other words, there's all these raving fans we have, and sometimes we're stepping over the silver dollars to pick up the nickels, like the Facebook leads or the Google leads. Not to discount them, because we want to take them through the process and turn them into raving fans. But we want to, again, lead, prospect, client, lifetime client, raving fan. And the whole idea is to create raving fans. And when you think about, that's a huge nugget right there, is anniversary calls, birthday calls, house anniversary calls. So right there, the average family of 4, that's 5 touches in a year. And 5 touches where all you're doing is, I shouldn't say all you're doing, what you're importantly doing is loving on people. And giving starts the receiving process. Now, Karen, what would you ask you if you were me in relationship to follow-up?
In relationship to follow-up, I think I would ask myself, if I were you, I would ask myself, Karen, how many times do you feel it takes to follow up with a lead to convert them? And the answer to that is, obviously, statistically speaking, it takes 7 follow-ups for you to be recognized by that person, because we all get leads, in the leads we come in that are coming in that we don't have a relationship with. So the cold leads, if that is your business and your practice, figure out different ways that's going to set yourself apart from that person. But make sure, like I think Jason said it, you call them 3 times, text them 2, then a video. I mean, you have to have a system set up in place and do that system every single time a lead comes in. Don't deviate from it. So it's consistency, and have your system in place. But again, I think you just like how you get phone calls from solicitors and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to answer the phone so they stop calling me. That's how you have to be. And if you don't want to be that type of person, then you have to maybe define where you want your leads to come in, be a relational type lead generator and not a cold call lead generator.
Brilliant. And system, the acronym for that word, save yourself time, energy, money. Save yourself time, energy, money. And we want to definitely have systems in place for the follow-up. And we want to invest the time in the creation of those systems. Very, very important as it relates to follow-up. Jason, what would you ask you if you were me in relationship to follow-up?
So I'm actually not going to ask it as if I was you. I'd ask if I was a new agent, because this is, or even a lower producing agent, because people always ask this. Well, what are you doing, Jason? And the key to that is, don't really use the information I give you, but don't worry about what I'm doing, because what I would say most of us are doing is going to be a little bit different, because we do have more ad spend, we do have better systems. And ultimately, I would say make sure you get on the phones. Again, that's something that I'm going to always repeat to people, because everybody wants to build a mousetrap that allows them to just cultivate, and nobody wants to do the work involved. Getting on the phone is awkward. Especially when you're not used to speaking. I could tell you firsthand experience right now that I started another business and I was calling people and I didn't know my script for that business, and it was awkward. So practice, do those things, and make sure you're just constantly pushing yourself forward. Don't let fear get in your way. The worst that happens is somebody says no, but they weren't going to say yes if you didn't get on the phone with them to begin with.
Brilliant. And sometimes we hear the acronym for FEAR, which is false evidence appearing real. And I don't buy that acronym, because I think fear is very, very real and it's not false. And but one of the things I love, and we're constantly coaching our partners, our team, is that do it afraid. Do it afraid. And my father, God rest his soul, he came to Canada from Italy in 1955, 65 years ago. He started a real estate company. And by himself, I want you to think about this, by himself in the 60s, he had no cell phone, he had no pager, he had no computer, he had no fax machine. By himself, he was selling 200 homes a year. This is documented and recorded. And when I got into the real estate business, obviously he's one of my greatest mentors. And when I got into the real estate business, he said, "Son, there's 3 things I want you to do to be successful." And by the way, as an aside, the name of his company was Dial Real Estate. Dial means get on the phone and dial. And he said, "There's 3 things I want you to do. Number 1, talk to people. Number 2, talk to people. Number 3, talk to people." And so we got to make calls, we got to make good calls, we got to make good calls on good prospects, and we got to make calls with a good attitude. And thank you for that, Jason. That's brilliant. Kristen, are you there now? Oh, I can see you there, but you're still having audio issues. Okay. And brilliant. And let's see here. So, Jason, if there was one thing that you would want everyone in this room to take action on today, so just one thing, what would that one thing be?
Well, I guess I won't say dialing again. I think that gets too redundant. I would say the other thing that I do that's helps with my lack of follow-up is I'm huge into Facebook. I've built my tribe from Facebook. And that's my follow-up with most of my clients is we have Facebook conversations. Spend your time. If you're going to spend time on Facebook, make sure it's not about your post. It's about their post. People want to feel good about themselves, and that's why they post online. And if you're always making it about them, when they need something, it will be about you.
Now that right there is a huge nugget. Make it about their posts. Make it about their posts. So comments, likes, shares. That is a huge nugget right there. Thank you for that. And sorry, I thought someone was trying to say something there. Chad, going to you. What is one thing, just one thing, that you would want everyone in this room to take action on today?
So on that one, I'm going to say find the thing that works for you, your one thing, because we are all so different, not just different markets, different parts of the world, but we know there's so many things you can do to follow up and to touch with people, but find the one you're good at. For example, I'm terrible at sending. I'll do typos and bad sentence structure all day long. So I use things like BombBomb. I'll talk into a camera and send a short video clip and text that or email to people. Not only do I think I get a better response, but they can read my body language. They can hear the tone in my voice. They see me already, and so they start to build a rapport or connection. So that's the one that works for me. I love to send short little video clips, and you can do that in Facebook Messenger. You can do it on BombBomb. You don't have to get bogged down by complicated technology. But again, find that thing for you, whatever it is that works for you, and get better at it, because we know that with the follow-up to leads, it's a matter of improving your conversion. When we start, it's terrible. It's 1 in 20. And then as you get better, you can get that, 2 out of 5. And then by the time you do this for long enough, it seems like every time you get the chance to connect with someone, you do get to help them. So find the one thing that you're good at, passionate about, and that you communicate well to others, and specialize in that thing.
That is amazing. And there's another huge nugget right there is find your one thing. One is such an important number, because sometimes, as an example, I'll set a goal and I'll say, okay, I'm going to buy 10 investment properties this year. No, set a goal to buy 1 investment property this year, and then go from, after you hit that light post the first month of the year, now say, okay, I'm going to buy 2. Just like one of the greatest Canadian heroes that ever lived, in my estimation, his name is Terry Fox, and Terry Fox did a walk. I don't know how many thousands of miles it was for a cure for cancer. And one day he was asked, how do you do it? You're on one leg, you got blood coming out of your leg. How in the world do you do it? Like how do you do it? He says, I only focus on the next light post. My only goal is to get to the next light post. So the one thing is very brilliant. And thank you for that. Karen, what is one thing, one action item for everyone to take on immediately to grow their business? What is one thing you would want everyone to do?
Gosh, there's so many, but I think the one thing is, define your perfect client. And this was a hard one for me. It took me a long time to realize that because I was always, no matter who came across my desk, I'm like, yep, I'll do it. And you can't do it. Define who you want to work with. Define your avatar, your client. That's who you're going to target. If you're out there doing TikTok, you're not going to be attracting maybe the 55 plus community. Sorry if anyone out there 55 and older is on TikTok. So I guess that's kind of like how my point is. Define who it is, who you're going after, and then how you're going to reach that. Because obviously, different demographics, different ages are going to maybe be attracted to different types of connection, if that makes sense.
That makes amazing sense. And again, there's another great exercise right there, is the definition of the who. So define, we all have a client in our database that we absolutely love. And one of the exercises I've done is I sat down and wrote out the characteristics of that client, the perfect client, because the law of attraction absolutely comes into play. And so absolutely, it makes total sense. Define the who, but then reduce it to writing. And, we become what we think about. And, study these plans and things of that nature. So we've got 5 minutes left, and we will. Does anyone have any questions? Perhaps we should do that. Does anyone have any questions in the audience?
Yeah, I had a question on systems. What kind of systems you guys use for follow-up? And I know it's probably a generic question, but just some ideas.
Okay, who wants to take that one on?
I'll start. So I use a program called RealVolve. It's a little expensive. I didn't start with that. I started, with Realty Juggler, which is very simple, easy to use. That's another good one. I did have Top Producer, like when I was, way in the beginning, but to me, it's a little complicated. The RealVolve is very easy. It's automated. They have a lot of training on it. Let's see. I use BombBomb obviously for the video or for the videos and sending out video messages. Is that it?
Brilliant. Any other questions? There's a hand up there, I see. I don't see your name, I'm sorry, but there's a hand up. Do you have a question there? There's two hands up now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Mario. It's Suzanne Bassbinder.
Hey, Suzanne. Great to see you.
Okay. Fantastic. Long time no see. Let's see here. I have a question about, is anybody using KV Core?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. I have the team version.
Okay, because I've been having some great luck with the KV Core with the follow-up.
Yeah, I like KV Core is great in a lot of ways. You make some basic templates, and you could convert people that you forgot even existed. I think last year about 4 or 5 of my deals were people that honestly I did not follow up with, but luckily KV Core was consistently following up with them.
Great, thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. There's 2 hands up, or 3 hands now. Cody?
Hey, thank you. Yeah, so my question is based on turning transactional lead generation into more of like relationship-based follow-up. So we have cold call leads right now running through Boomtown and KV Core, but currently the only follow-up that's happening for personalization is phone calls and handwritten letters. Do you have any suggestions on other ways to turn that cold call into a more relationship-oriented follow-up structure?
I'll jump in on this one. So I've very much been transactional based, and most of my leads or sales have been online in one way, shape, or form, and I've been trying to get more to that relationship based stuff. So I use send out cards, and again, I'm on Facebook, so whenever I see somebody had a kid, a grandkid, whatnot, I have a full-time admin now. I send her a screenshot, and she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Send them a card. Which is great, and it makes life a lot easier. So I use send out cards, and then we have been doing events. Now, of course, with this going on, I don't think we're going to be doing an event right now, but we did, photos with Santa where they brought in, gifts to go to one of our local radio stations that do the Toys for Tots kind of thing. So those have been nice ways for me to reach out to people that I'm just generally not that great of a conversationalist. If it's not about something I'm super interested in, I'm very bad at it. So that's the ways I've been staying out. And then I even will do slide dial to invite them. So they still get to hear my voice, and it just says, hey, this Jason or Curry, I'd like to invite you to this event. And then they usually reach out to me, or at least they'll have a text conversation with me out of it. So that's the kind of things I've been doing to make it more relationship.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. And send out cards, by the way, is there's another nugget for everyone right there. It's an absolutely brilliant platform. I think we might have time for one more question. So anyone who wants to just open their mic.
Yeah, Karen, I have actually a question for all of you, but I know Karen Vermero was with the RE/MAX organization for many years. Would any of you say that leaving a well-known company to come to EXP, would you say that that has hurt your business in any way? What benefits have you gained by doing this?
Yeah, no, it has not hurt my business in any way. As a matter of fact, because I was with RE/MAX for 17 years prior to leaving, I was nervous. I was nervous about the brand. I literally interviewed all my clients. I had like 10 listings at the time. I went and interviewed all of them, and they're like, the feedback I got, that no one cares. They're hiring you. my clients are like, hey, well, we're going with you wherever you're at, so we don't really care where you are. And quite frankly, my volume increased 4 million when I left my prior brokerage and came to EXP. So it has literally helped me because of things like this. The collaboration is just unprecedented.
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, by the way, and a brilliant point, and it's a good point to leave off on. And I'll leave you with this thought. First of all, we're in the and I was with Remax for 29 years, not to disparage them, but we are in the greatest real estate company in the world today. It's the fastest growing real estate company in the world today for a reason. And I'll leave you with this thought. One of my business partners who came on board with us about 6 months ago now, he was also with Remax, and he did the exact same thing, Karen. He did the exact same thing you did. He went out and interviewed 10 clients. 8 of them asked him, when he said, "Hey, if I make the switch to a different brand, is it gonna bother you? Is it gonna have an effect on us conducting business?" And 8 people asked him, "Hugo, what company are you with?" So I'll leave you with that thought. So this is an amazing company. So right on. So I think we are out of time right here. And I learned a lot, took down a lot of notes. Thank you to everyone. And blessings and peace be with you all.
Thanks, guys. It was awesome.
And you as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
We'll get the survey dropped in the chat box here in a second.
If only you could dance that well in person, Karen.
I should have been a professional dancer.
Great job, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mario. Really appreciate it.
Next session will start in about 12 minutes. Stick around if you are interested. The next session is going to be creating repeat and referral business.
Tina, you with me?
I am.
Hi there. Question for you. When I click in the black box to do the transcript, where do I find that transcript after? How do I go about?
You know what? I will go ahead and you right click and it'll automatically just copy it. And then you'll just have to paste it somewhere else. But I will go ahead and copy it into our chat.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Take good care. Thanks for this opportunity. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in about 8 minutes. Hi, Kanda.
Hi, Tina. How are you holding up?
Doing good. Running on
Good.
Doing good.
Good. So far, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I hope everybody's, jumping in and embracing this. I know there was some challenges the first day with just sound and things like that and kind of people couldn't get in, but the sessions today have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, a lot of amazing content. Yeah, there were some sound issues yesterday, and they made some corrections. There were some markings, so might believe it should.
Hey, Tina, this is
Yeah.
Ian Palast. How
Hello.
are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I figured since we have a few minutes, I hope you don't mind. I've been following along in the workplace chat post regarding, I'm a newly minted Icon agent, and I'm trying to get some clarity. I've read all the questions and the answers, and it seems like it should be straightforward, but I don't know, I'm still a little bit confused. In order to earn the shareholder portion of the Icon Agent Award, I'm supposed to attend the mastermind at 12:30 today, which I'm signed up for, and I'm also supposed to attend 4 breakout sessions and take notes in those sessions, which I'm then supposed to upload somehow.
You could definitely do that. You need to attend the Icon Mastermind plus contribute 4 hours. If you attend any of the breakouts that are offered during shareholders, yes, if you do the notes during those sessions, you can take the survey at the end, and then just